All right, welcome. Welcome to my channeling of Dolores Cannon for New Earth and Ascension updates. We're going to be taking a deep dive into pretty much the end of this month and the majority of April. I'm going to be trying to bring her back a little bit more than often. So I knew someone would be coming through today, and I was hoping that it would be her, and here we are. Let's give everyone enough time to get their notifications. I know this is a surprise, so we may not have as many live today as we typically do. After she gives us this New Earth and Ascension update, we'll be able to go into your questions on it. All right. Giving everyone just a little bit more time. How are you all feeling? These new energies are definitely something different. And some health issues are definitely highlighted in this particular Ascension initiation. So, sending everyone a ton of support and Reiki light and loving energies as you go through that. Yeah. Tired, yes. Anxiety off the chart. This would be a really good time to review some of my light codes and light language activations on this channel and on Patreon if you feel like it. I put them everywhere, so that'll help during this time. All of those light codes and light language activations that calm the neurological system in particular will help you out. All right. Okay. She says, for this upcoming cosmic energy and ascension update, there are higher potential timelines emerging that haven't really been available to you prior. That's what I've been telling you is so exciting. You haven't done this before. People are going to be standing in more awareness of their individual sovereignty right now, in their autonomy. And you're going to be standing back from the needs of those around you and the collective a lot more. And that isn't really good or bad for society. It's just a natural result of the sheer exhaustion of giving and people pleasing and meeting expectations from a society that's crumbling around your feet. Burning the candle at both ends is no longer an option. So, this means that you'll be a lot more focused not on your past, not on the collapsing energy of the 3D cultural conditions and structures. They're falling all around you, but on what you individually want your unique new earth to look like, as opposed to what everyone else wants it to look like. What the world's expectations were, can let that go now. Pay more attention to your individual needs, and then you'd be positively surprised that other people have the same needs. This is an initiation energy, and this ascension initiation energy goes into ancient, powerful versions of yourself that you've simply forgotten. You just don't remember anymore. And this new version of yourself is a pioneer, a visionary. And when you receive new revelations, new visions of what and how you want to serve, initially the old you will come back in and say, "Oh, no, don't pay attention to that. That won't work. You've tried that before." Well, again, we're not meant to be paying attention to the past and what didn't work and what doesn't work anymore, but on what your ancient soul wants to pioneer in a new way, a new form, new ways of tending to your health, to your relationships, to your body's needs, to your mind's needs, new spiritual modalities that are also ancient are coming about. And all of this will feel beautifully new, but it is remarkably ancient. Remember when I told you before that nothing is really new under the face of the sun? Well, this feels new and old at the same time. So, this is that month for pioneers and visionaries to birth a new consciousness that is much needed for New Earth and is long overdue. Stay in your creative personal energy field. Mitigate the need and the pull to go backwards into your past and to evidence the new way that you are attempting to create from the past. It's going to be tempting. It's going to be a mighty pull on the mind and the body to do some more of the same things that weren't working, but don't take the bait. This is a year, particularly these next 30 days, the consciousness that is emerging invokes you to meet yourself. The consciousness that is emerging is held most powerfully from now until the full moon. And I'm not really an astrology person, but I appreciate the consciousness arising from your cosmic nature. And this is what we're talking about, and it happens to also align with everything in space. Because the time and space continuum is only a mirror to the soul that you are and that you are becoming. Stay in your emerging creative personal energy field. And remember, trust your visions, trust the information that is arising in your QHHT. Trust the visions that are arising from the subconscious. Trust your soul. And when you trust these newly emerging visions that are coming, you step into a new energy that this Ascension initiation offers. And believe me, it's going to feel different than anything you felt before. Another thing that's coming up in this Ascension initiation is living in the present moment, being your best you now. And if you don't know what that looks like, just ask. Ask your subconscious during the middle of making a life-changing decision, perhaps during the middle of trying to be on the same page with people you love in your life, perhaps. Stop and ask your subconscious, what does my newly emerging soul want? What would my newly emerging self do? What would my newly emerging self choose? This would perhaps activate more autonomy, more remembrance of your sovereignty, and this pulls you into the present moment. Quickly, quickly, you will receive these downloads where the choice is easy. Because when you're in the present moment, you just initiated a quantum leap experience that is beyond the time space continuum. This is how you manifest in these new quantum leap energies. And it's not fast or slow, it's just apparent right now. So it helps you just to be able to set a goal and just do it. In the past, you'd set a goal and say, well, is that what my guides want? Is that what the subconscious wants? Is that really the right choice for everyone around me? But now you will set a goal and you will just do it. So you're going to be developing a stronger sense of self in the now. Another thing that's highlighted in this Ascension initiative, or initiation rather, um, is the recovery from health issues. Paying a little bit more attention to not what you call a block, but more what you call ways that you would not face yourself. Ways, perhaps diversions. Let's call them diversions. Because when you are continually becoming attracted to diversions and allowing yourself to go down that rabbit hole, the healing issues arise and they are more highlighted, particularly this month, all the way into until the full moon. Um, and that's one thing, but more answers are going to be revealed when you are using the new manifestation method of quantum leaping to jump into the most powerful potential in your timeline right now. Then the answers to your health issues come, and it will be like shining a light on what you didn't know before. And many of you will be thinking, well, that was really simple. That can't quite be the fix to a lifelong health concern. Um, but don't doubt it before you listen and heed the subconscious nature. Listen to its advice. Put it to practice. Let it surprise you. So, with that in mind, this is a powerful ascension initiative. It's a powerful force that cannot be ignored. And if you try, then you'll feel this. It's almost difficult to verbalize this angst, something that you need to push beyond, but you don't quite know what the something is. Well, luckily, by the end of the full moon time, this cosmic energy that's arising, this new consciousness, will mitigate that powerful force that's pushing you quickly into big change. If that scares you, just calm down because there's another force that's coming in your consciousness. And again, after the full moon, you'll notice this new energy arising, balancing, mitigating family issues, providing more harmony, providing more opportunities for cooperation amongst everyone. And this is a call for peace. This is a call for not negotiation, but cooperation. Balancing your needs with everyone else's and recognizing that everyone's needs are important, but also no longer putting your autonomous individual needs on the back burner and therefore betraying yourself continually. This is a call for peace in this new ascension initiation, in this new consciousness that's arising. How you view the world is what needs to be brought to peace. Some of you are so disgusted with the 3D structures that are in the middle of collapsing, and you're upset that they're taking a long time to fall. And you knew that they would. Something that took that long to be built certainly takes at least half of that amount of time to collapse, and that's just the law of time. But you are speeding it up, and you have sped up the collapse of those 3D systems that feel imprisoning. You have sped that up exponentially just in the past 60 days alone. You are making progress. Don't forget that and don't lose that hope. But a call for peace on how you view the world in terms of authority, in terms of your personal empowerment versus the world system's personal empowerment needs to be really deeply looked at and brought into harmony and peace. And that's another theme that really prevails in this new consciousness as it is arising to greet the soul. Okay? Yeah, that's it. I love how she just does that. That's it. Um, we're going to look for questions now. We're going to take questions for just a few minutes. And anybody that wants to ask her something can feel free to do this at this time. Thank you for liking and subscribing. While I'm waiting on questions, I wanted to take a moment to thank you. Um, well, she's the only guy that just steps into my full voice and everything. It's going to take a second to get me back. I wanted to take a moment to thank you for subscribing and for liking and for sharing things. I appreciate it. Thanks for just being you right now. She's right about that, you know. Thank you for that super chat, Marjorie. I appreciate you. First question, what is the most helpful thing we can do at this time? She said the most helpful thing is to stop, breathe, and listen. SBL, let's give you an acronym. You tend to like those. Stop, breathe, and listen. Call upon the subconscious and ask, what does my newly emerging consciousness want? And what would my newly emerging consciousness want to do? And trust that immediate revelation. Trust that immediate answer from the soul. We can't negate what the subconscious has to say. When the subconscious speaks and it's clear. But many of you really like to sit around and hem and haw and go, well, is that right? And did I hear it right? And did I get it right? And it's not really the time for that. It's the time for trust. So don't negate what the soul has to say, but don't forget to be asking appropriate questions when you feel stuck. And then trust what comes. Are the nature spirits calling me is the next question. And she says, well, you'd know if the elemental beings that exist call you, you can't stay away from nature. And you will feel horrendous when you stay inside. You'll need to get outdoors more often. You'll need immediate access to water and air and fresh air, clean water. You'll need immediate access to putting your feet on the dirt. You'll need immediate access to that at least once, if not multiple times a day. You'll have more difficult times working indoors when the nature elementals are calling you. You'll know because they won't stop. They're fairly insistent. And I love when YouTube gives you all kind of questions all at the same time as opposed to one at a time. What does Dolores think about online sessions? She said, well, we're doing them now. It wasn't that we always were, but since my crossing over, it's been much more of a practice that's being taught. And you can ask Julia about that in the trainings, but it is available now. And it's not so much of what I think about it, because if you had asked me that 30 years ago, it would have been a big problem. And I had to see that. I had to see that, and I couldn't see it in the exact way that I wanted to. There wasn't quite enough time to explore that when I was with you in this personality and form. And then you have the idea, the concept of seeing through the eyes of the spirit, and that provides less of a filter, less of a bias. And I like what I'm seeing. We have to change with the times. I didn't like it any more than anyone. I don't particularly like this method of communication, but I have to change with the times. And the only thing I can do is hope that you see for yourself that different, newer methods of communication with the subconscious can be effective, that you can see that for yourself and become researchers. Explore it and see if it works for you. That's what I would tell you about anything at any time in my life. Don't listen to me. Ask your clients, is that working for them? Now, with that being said, it is going to take a lot more skill. It is going to take a lot more patience, a lot more dedication, and you have it. Thank you for the super chat, whoever that was. I'm not that far down in chat, but thank you. Oh, Emily Schultz says, I love Dolores. She's been an incredible mentor for me, and I wanted to see if she had anything else to share with me. In studying under her, she said, he's not done with you. When we worked together, you tried to put me off a multitude of times, but Nostradamus is not done with you. And the being that we were working with, had I not left this earth at the time that I did, is also not done with you. Um, so it doesn't, your work isn't done because I'm not here, right? Keep on. Well, that was a real personal message. Let's thank her for that. She says she hopes it really inspires you. um, mm, she says yes to your question, Tony. Mark Harrison says, let's see, he asked, do we ascend at the same time or is it just the ones that are ready? She said, that's perpetually changing because right now, ascension has become more individual and you are ascending at different times when you're ready. Now, don't take that and make that good or make that bad or make that into any way. I know that you won't, but some people do. Some people like to say, well, I wish that everyone could just wake up. But if that were true, that we were waking up at the same time, we would have some of the more devastating effects that came through in some of my work about um, Mu and Atlantis. And we don't want that again now, do we? So let's understand that it has become an individual initiative. And that's neither here nor there. It's all up to you. That's what you wanted. You wanted more access to what you call free will. And now you have it. Sakshi Haval, she's suggesting that she says, I want you to read Convoluted Universe 4. And then when you do it again. God. Okay. Okay, he will do that, Dolores. uh, Maria has a question. Can you tell us more about moving to the highest and best timeline? What is working that we need to continue? She said it's going to be arising, but because it's a newly emerging consciousness, you're not going to know what it looks like for you. It's going to be like swimming in uncharted territory or swimming in deep water, and then suddenly your feet can touch and you don't know what's going to be under there. You know that happens when you swim in the lake. And that's true here too. You don't know if that's going to be mud or sticks or some stones or a sharp piece of glass, but I assure you that the land you're about to step on energetically feels solid and steady, but ever moving, ever in motion. You're changing and you're doing so faster than the blink of an eye. So I can't really tell you in human words what this newly arising consciousness would look like for you individually because you're all discerning it differently. And you all have that natural power of sovereignty to discern as you will and to color that consciousness however you want. That's what's exciting about it. So, as opposed to looking at it as highest and best timeline, more about highest potential, most mastered version of your soul that's ancient and new simultaneously. Consider that for a moment. We're always looking for something new that hasn't been done before, or we're looking at something so old that we don't remember it. What if it's both? Jacqueline Durling, she says, my advice for you is to trust that the visionary part of you is turning on. In the past, you didn't want to um, trust in information that would come in through your work unless you could see it. And now it's starting that you're getting downloads of things that you're seeing, but you still think you're just imagining it. What gives? Uh, okay. This one, does Carolyn need me to contact her? She said, well, I don't know. Ask her. I'm not a psychic. Oh, Dolores. Um, oh man, Becca says, why would I suffer severe strokes at this time and how would I recover to keep my light? She said, can you look at something that takes away an old you and invigorates a new you as a new step? When you're recovering from this mystic disorder, this is what I call this, a mystic's disorder, you're holding on to something that isn't working, and the stroke makes you let it go. The stroke resets your entire neurological system and makes you see the new you. You have to learn to walk again in a new way and talk again in a new way. So trust that way and keep putting your foot forward, particularly your right one. Pamela told me that. Remember, I'm not a psychic. Keep putting your foot forward and understand that everything is new. A new you is emerging. When you get that, you'll start to notice these symptoms subsiding rather quickly. All right. Got just a couple more minutes for questions. Well, Roberta, she doesn't know what shampoo breathing is. Maybe that's a typo. Can you say it a different way? Oh yeah, yeah. Carolyn, she knows that. She was just goofing off with him. She jokes a lot, guys. She doesn't mean anything by it. But she definitely does not feel that she's psychic. So when people ask her things like, should I do this or should I do that in the future? Or if it involves something that appears to be helping her to tap into her psychic stuff, she doesn't tap in that way. She just uses the soul every time. She goes straight to the subconscious. No, I didn't see your question, Laura. Will we experience the new earth in this lifetime? She said, you already have hundreds of versions of New Earth that you are on individually, but because you're wanting everybody else to be on the same one you're on, you're not seeing it. You are creating your own individual versions of New Earth. And all of those, what you call star seeds that are around you, are exploring that with you. And just because you may or may not be able to experience it in the same way doesn't mean you're not both on New Earth, perhaps having different dimensional perspectives of that same New Earth. Because in free agency, you have the autonomy, you have the sovereignty to choose your reaction to New Earth. And some of you may still say that it's not new, that you don't like it because it made you change, it made you shift, perhaps before you were ready, but you did shift. But when you see others around you and see you're used to ascending together, this used to be a collective experience. So just remember that it's individual now, and everybody has the sovereign right to perceive and receive and react differently. Okay? That's not really, Laura, that's not exactly the type of question that she can answer. Not without using regression, she said. She said, do you want to go get some QHHT? She wishes she were here to guide you through that in that specific way. But otherwise, she said, I want you to ask your subconscious and then try to repeat that process in real time. Does she miss eating cookies? She said, you have no idea. White chocolate and macadamia nut. All right. Oh, yeah. The new me's kind of stuck. She said, Christian, and this goes for Laura too. She said, developing a stronger sense of self in the now, in this ascension initiation, in this new consciousness, does not always feel peaceful. It doesn't always feel easy. It involves confronting people gently and offering harmony and balance with them, shifting the way you react to them and making new commitments for peace. And that's difficult because you're not quite in the new consciousness, but you are emerging into it. So again, it will feel like swimming in the lake and wondering when you get done doggy paddling, some of you, or deep swimming, the rest of you, and when it comes time to put your feet on the bottom of the lake, if it's going to be muddy or if you're going to sink in it or if it's going to be sharp or if it's okay. And you don't know what the new consciousness feels like, and it feels scary to those of you who still want the old way, which, by the way, is the majority of society wants the old way. But we can't want the old way and also move into the new. This is where you work more with the subconscious. Yeah, yeah. All right, guys, I think that's going to be it for today. Thank you so much for coming and listening to my channeling. If you want more of them, there's a link at the top of the chat for where I generally do my channelings and classes multiple times a week. It's just a Patreon channel. Thank you for subscribing. I really appreciate it. And that makes me continue to be able to work and channel here when I get more people viewing. That helps support the channel so that we can continue to do that. Thank you so much. Have a great day. For those of you on Patreon, I will see you tomorrow morning for channeling Enoch and Metatron. All right. Bye.